Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our Success Resources Live. And it's been a while since we've gone live on our social media. First thing first, we've missed you, and we're so glad that you're here with us today. Whether it's morning where you're headed to work now or it's your lunch break, we're glad to be part of your day. My name is Vivian. I'm your host today. Well, we're broadcasting from all over the world, so we would like to know where you are tuning in from. So drop your country and city in the comments below, wherever you're watching, because we are live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, several platforms. All right. Now I'm very excited today because we'll be talking about something that affects every single one of us, which is wealth. How to build it, how to protect it, and how to grow it in uncertain times like these, right? So today we've got not only one, but two amazing guests joining us for this, and you're all in for a treat. Let's welcome Greg Owen, your awesome host for this weekend's wealth building webinar, and also Troy Harris, our powerhouse speaker. Greg and Troy, please drop a quick hello and tell everyone where you're from.
Hello there. Look, Vivian, it's Greg Owen. I'm coming from Sydney, Australia, and looking forward to this event coming up in a few days' time. Troy?
Troy, I believe you're muted.
There we go. I'll unmute myself. Yep. My name's Troy Harris, and I'm tuning in from just up the road from Sydney in Newcastle, Australia as well. So it's lovely to be here. Thanks for the invite, Vivian.
Thank you both, and welcome both of you thank you for joining us today, Greg and Troy. Now, all right, we'll kickstart with Greg. Let's start off with you. Now, you've seen and hosted many events around the world, right? So, what makes this wealth building webinar different from the rest of the seminars out there?
Well, I'll tell you why it's going to be fantastic is because it's not every day I get to sit down in a studio with Robert Kiyosaki in Phoenix, Arizona, and ask him some compelling questions. The big one was, I said, where is the money going, Robert? Where is the money? And he said to me 3 things that everybody must have or own in their life. And he tells everybody in this interview. And I'm not telling you what he said.
Yeah, go ahead. That sounds like so fun. Is there any fun moments that we can expect for this weekend?
Oh, look, every chat with Robert and myself, we get on very, very well. And we always have a lot of fun. It's a fun interview. We have a good time together. But also Robert has his very serious moments because when he talks about money, life's not about fun anymore. It's about everybody being brutal and honest because there's no easy road and you've got to get the right advice. And that's why Robert was so happy to have Troy, who's going to be on the program, because he mentions that Troy and what Troy teaches is one of the great roads to success. It's where tomorrow's money is hiding.
Oh, that sounds really interesting. Now I'm very keen to watch the interview. I'm very curious about how the interview went. Thank you, Greg, for sharing with us. And I think all of us are expecting everyone, please prepare. If you're joining us this weekend, which you should, please prepare your notebook and jot down all the notes that you hear from the conversation between Greg and Robert, okay? Now, thanks, Robert. And thanks, Greg. I believe you had to run, yeah?
I have to run. I have a pressing appointment. People are waiting for me. I do apologize because we had a bit of a technical hiccup. And but at any rate, I'll leave you in the great hands of Troy. Thank you, Vivian. I look forward to seeing everybody live on Saturday.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you this Saturday.
Bye-bye.
Yep. Thank you. All right, Troy. So you've been coaching people on wealth for many years, right? So how do you think Robert's approach fits into what you teach?
Yeah, it's very similar because what I'm all about is about cash flow, and I know that one of the big things that Robert talks about is obviously in his award-winning book Cash Flow Quadrant, where he talks about the 4 different pillars of cash, right, and where it comes from. The difference between trading your time for money and allowing the other hand, which is where we want to be, right, which is having our money work for us, and that's what I really focus on. I focus on how to get your money working for you. And that's the most important part. And there's no better way than the world of that I'm going to be sharing with you all around the world of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, because there's no better asset class than that class to have that kind of money working for you. The gains that you can make is extraordinary.
Well, that sounds wonderful, because have had some interactions with Robert myself, and what he shares is really interesting, and it's really relevant to especially the market nowadays, which is a lot of things going on. So that I'm actually looking forward to what you will share, Troy. This is very interesting, and I'm looking forward to what you have to say about your aspect of how we should build our wealth in these times. Now, wonderful. Now let's have some fun. Try, just for your information, we have recently sent out a fun wealth personality quiz to people out there to help them figure out how they should think and act about money in 2025. Now, I'd love to hear your takes on a few of the questions. For our viewers, play along in the comments, whichever platform you're on. We'll be reading the comments, all right? So here's the first one. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to building wealth in 2025?
This here, your brain, your mind, right? Your mindset. The people who say that it's 80-20, I don't know if you've heard of the 80-20 rule before. So many amazing financial educators talk about it, and it's all about your mind. Your mind is going to be the thing that holds you back. It's 80% mindset, the 20%, the technical knowledge, how to do things, how to purchase it, how to hold it, how to sell it. All that stuff is the easy part, guys. This is the part that you need to get into the right areas, your mindset.
Yes, I totally agreed with you, because I've heard of the 80-20 rule, and a lot of things a lot of techniques, a lot of webinars out there focuses on the techniques that you should use and things like that, but not many actually highlight this mindset that you've mentioned just now. So this is very exciting. Yeah. So now here's the second one. If someone were to give you $10,000 today, where would you invest it first and why?
So if someone was to give me $10,000 today, I mean, this does kind of play into people's, I guess you could say, risk profile and things like that. But for me personally, I would always look at a diverse portfolio. So even though I am a Bitcoin and crypto educator, I started off as a property investor. So I would definitely be looking to diversify around there. I'll definitely be looking at gold and silver as well. I think they're, without a doubt, there's a reason why Robert Kiyosaki calls, gold God's money. And there's also a reason why Robert Kiyosaki calls Bitcoin the people's money. So yeah, I would be doing a nice little combo there of some gold, a bit of silver, and then getting myself a nice, healthy little crypto portfolio there, led by the number one coin, Bitcoin. But there's some other incredible little alternative coins, and I'm going to be sharing a couple of those narratives with everyone on this awesome workshop we're doing on Saturday. But diversifying and getting yourself a few different coins, I feel, is a pretty good way to be able to build your wealth, especially this year, because we've got an all-time high expected at the end of this year. At the end of 2025 for Bitcoin, we saw an all-time high of $1,000 in 2013, 20,000 in 2017, 2021 we saw a high of 70,000, and now as we're speaking, Bitcoin's currently trading for around 110,000 US dollars. And I know when I was when Robert was on stage when I spoke with him just last 2 weeks ago in South Africa, he was saying that he thinks Bitcoin's going to hit at least 200,000 US dollars. And my analysis thinks, I think we might even hit a little bit more. So this is without a doubt the time to get educated in this space and take advantage of it.
Wow. Are we hitting more than 200,000? Well, let's see, right? So I was actually about to ask you about cryptocurrency next, but since you've mentioned it, I believe your love for it shows. So I'm going to skip that question. Right. And for those of you who just tuned in, welcome. And you're actually hanging out with us at Success Resources Live. We're getting ready for the wealth building webinar happening this Saturday, 31st of May. And trust me, you don't want to miss what we have, what our speakers here have in store for you. Now, if you haven't registered, no stress. We've got a link in the comment. Our team will put a link in the comment. Go ahead and sign up while we continue to have this fun chat, all right? Now, back to our quiz. Troy, How often do you monitor or adjust your investments or saving strategies? Is it daily, monthly, or never? Let's be honest.
Well, look, when it comes to investing, and obviously we just chatted about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. I think it's important with all investments to keep an eye on it. Now, I'm certainly not with my investments, my long-term investments. I'm not looking at it daily because I feel like if you're in there and you're checking it daily, and I've got people who say, "Oh, I wake up in the middle of the night and I check the price." I say you've either got one or two things going on. You're either over invested, right? Right. And if you're over invested, what that actually means, okay, is that you've panic bought into the market. And if you panic bought into the market, you're going to panic sell out of the market. So you want to be getting yourself an amount that suits you, that you're comfortable with based on your risk profile. We're going to be going through all these things on the weekend, but based on your risk profile. And then what you can do from that point is you can sleep easy, because essentially an investment, right, is a medium to long term thing that should actually make you feel less stressful, not more stressful. Okay, so that's one of the big things you want to be focusing on. And kind of touching back on your question, Vivian. For me personally, I'm at most checking my investment portfolio maybe once a week, and I help people set up a portfolio where they can do that. And people don't check it for months. But yeah, we have a designated way to set it up and how to keep on top of it. It hardly takes you any time at all.
Perfect, which is why I actually asked the question, because to be honest, I believe a lot of people out there never adjust or track their investments once they're in. So this is why I want an expert opinion on this, right? So here's another question. What's your biggest financial goal right now, since you're so successful, right? So is it retire early, buy property, build more passive income? Share your plan with us. What's your biggest goal?
Yeah, great question. Look, when people say retire early, I don't even know what that would mean. I'm so passionate about what I do, and I'm always trying to every single day get better in whatever area it is. I'm in a very I say fortunate position, but it's a position that I created myself through a lot of hard work. That even if I have this amazing life right now, where obviously I tour the world. I was just speaking with Robert Kiyosaki on stage in Johannesburg. We're in multiple different countries: Singapore, Malaysia, London, Ireland. We're everywhere last year. But even if all that went away tomorrow, I'm in a very unique position where nothing changes for me financially, because what I've been able to set up and create with my investment portfolio, what I do for a living when I get out there and I talk on stages, or I speak virtually like this, or on the webinar as we're doing on Saturday, even if all that was to go away tomorrow, yes, I would be sad, because I enjoy having these chats. I could talk to people all day about investing and cryptocurrency and everything else, but nothing changes for me financially. So for me, that's the big thing that I want to stick to, as opposed to getting to maybe a perceived goal. I want to ensure that is something that I always have, because that brings me ultimate happiness, because now I'm not worrying at all from a financial perspective. I'm just concentrating every single day to try and be the best person I can be and do what I want to do and do what I love. And what I love to do is to share this information and talk to people about it. But as I said, financially, I'd love for people to be able to have their own nest egg, create their own thing. Maybe it is you want to retire early, whatever that reason is that you have. Everyone's situation's different. But imagine being able to have that reliable nest egg there, that reliable income. Getting those multiple streams of passive income, which we share and show people how to do in the Bitcoin and crypto market. It's what is the most powerful thing to have, because then you can just go off and live and do your passion. Now, your passion might be like mine. Maybe you want to speak on stages worldwide and teach people about education of whatever that may be. Maybe you want to, be a travel blogger and travel the world. Maybe you just want to get all your family in the back of a car and drive around the country you live in. Whatever it may be, whatever your passion is, whatever it is that you want to do, that's what I love helping people create, because ultimately that's how we're going to get the most fulfilled life. And financially, you don't have to worry about what's going on. And that's when people get to that point, when students of mine get to that point, that's the most fulfilling moments for me.
Well, that sounds like currently, I mean, I believe you're very stable financially. So currently why you're doing this is because it has become a passion. It has become a mission for you to educate people around it. Am I right?
Yeah, it's a mission for me. So at this point, and I released a book last year called Crypto New Rich, where I literally talk about the very simple five steps to become crypto new rich. And I talk about from being a Bitcoin beginner to financially free and how to do it. I literally teach it all in the book. But like I said, when you guys come along to the webinar, you're going to learn exactly how you can do it as well. And step by step, how I've been able to create this over the last 9 years, because I've been in Bitcoin and crypto since 2016. So I'm very passionate about it. And like I said, what I would love is that every single one of you guys who are listening to this, whether you're here live or you see it on a recording, what I'd love is for you guys to be able to, follow your passions, do what it is that you want to do, right? I know Robert is the same. He's so passionate. Look, I'm sure he doesn't need to come out on stage and travel the world and do all these things, right? He's doing it because he's passionate about it. He's doing it because he loves to be able to interact with people. He loves sharing his message. And, it's very similar to myself. I love sharing the message of how people can create passive income and how people, can really create that nest egg so they can go and do what their passion is. Maybe your passion isn't speaking on stage. It doesn't matter if that's not it. Like I said, I've got a student in Portugal at the moment. His passion's paragliding, right? But what we've been able to create for him is a nest egg where he can then go and do his passion and go and pursue that. And that's whatever your passion may be. It's about creating that passive income, creating that nest egg that you can live off, and then you can go and do your passion, whatever that is.
Perfect. What an eye-opening conversation we're having here. A little bit, because you mentioned the biggest set for people to have that switch. What is the one, if you say, what is the one biggest mindset people need to make in order to build real wealth? What is that one thing?
There are so many things, but I know we've got a short period of time. So I'll say one thing. So for me, the one thing is this isn't going to happen tomorrow. So is having a long-term mindset, right? Now this is unfortunately the market and the whether it's a stock market, the crypto market, whatever market it is, whatever you're investing in, it doesn't care about you or your feelings. So it doesn't care if you're 60, if you're 70, if you're 80, it doesn't care if you're 18. It doesn't care what your age is. It doesn't care what your financial status is. It doesn't care about anything to do with your feelings. So when people come to me and they say, oh, Troy, I'm 65. I've got to make this work. This is my last ditch. This is my last hurrah, whatever the reasons may be. The first thing I say to them is that unfortunately the market doesn't care that you're 65. The market doesn't care if you're 18 and you're in a country where you don't have a stable internet connection. All these kinds of things the market doesn't care about. So as soon as you can get over the fact that okay, cool, the world doesn't owe me a favor. It's up to me to get out there and make this work however I can make it work. And knowing that this isn't going to just happen tomorrow. But if you can have that vision and treat this space, like I always say to people, treat the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency space like an investment, like a long-term investment. There's too many people that treat this space like a gamble. If you want to go gambling, go to the casino, go to the horse races. That's where you gamble. This is an investment space. And if you treat this like an investment space, the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency space will treat you like a god, like a king or a queen, right? This space will pay you more than every other asset class put together. But you have to have a medium to long-term vision. You can't just be like, all right, I've got $1,000. I'm going to come in here and just throw it on everything and I'm going to pray and hope for the best. The market doesn't care about that. It's going to eat you up. It's going to spit you out. So the big thing I'll say to people is have that vision to go, where do I want to be in 24 months, 48 months? Where do I want to be in 5, 10, 15 years time? Once again, whether you're 65 or if you're 15, it doesn't matter, right? The market doesn't care what age you are. The market doesn't care what ethnicity you are, what race you are, what country you're from. It's about having the mentality that if I'm going to make this work, I need to be thinking of the long term. So where do I want to be in 5 years? You know, and that's what I talk about in the book. If you can set yourself that, right, then that's what the people who are successful. The people who are successful always have that vision. They're not in and out, right? That's a gambler, right? You're gambling with your money, and you've worked really hard to get your money. Why gamble with it? Stop gambling with it and think of a long-term mindset.
Perfect. Now, you've mentioned about feelings. Now, I believe you are involved in AI as well. How do you feel about AI in this investment world? How AI plays a role in the investment world?
Yeah, AI is you know, on par with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in regards to the most fascinating and transformative technology that is out there, and that's going to be in this century that we're living in right now. Without a doubt, AI is going to be huge in our lives. So the year as we speak is 2025. By the year 2040, we are going to see things like you would never imagine just in your home, for example, right? You're going to have, like, there's going to be robots working in your home. You're going to have, everything's going to be automated. We are going to be living in a world in the next 5, 10, 15 years, a world that you would not have even imagined would be possible in the last 20 or 30 years. The advancements in technology that we're going to witness over the next 15 years, you can either be on two sides of the fence. Now, once again, the market doesn't care what side of the fence you're on. All right. It doesn't care if you're, you know, crying on social media that, you know, poor me, you know, or this market doesn't care about me. The market doesn't care about you. So what you need to do is you need to work out a way that you can get the market into your favor. And the way you do that is like what I said before, start taking responsibility of your decisions. Start understanding that it's going to be I've got to think 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, right? And understand that you've got technologies like AI, technologies like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. These things are going to completely transform the world. The world you're going to be walking around in 5, 10, 15 years time will look nothing like the world over the last 30 years, nothing. And if you're not prepared for that, there's only two things that's going to happen, right? If you're prepared for it, you have literally got the opportunity to front run institutional investments for the first time in human history. This is the first time in human history with the financial markets, you get the chance to front run institutional investment when it comes to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. The second choice you have is you can sit there with your head in the sand and just put your fingers in your ears and act as if nothing's happening. And the position you're going to be in financially in 5, 10, 15 years time, I don't even want to think what that's going to be. If you think that the middle class is going to keep on existing in 5, 10, you've got not, there is a wedge getting jammed into the middle class right now. You can either end up on the rich side or the extremely poor side. And I know the side that I want me and my family, my future generations to be on. And I'm sure you're the same, Vivian. We want them to be on the richer side and not be in the poorer side. Now, what's the difference between these two? Robert Kiyosaki's been telling you guys this for decades. The difference is this. You want to stay on the poor side, you keep being an employee. Now, I'm not saying that means that you can't be an employee now. Of course you can. You keep working hard, you keep doing, but the people who are going to succeed, they are on the side here, which is passive earning, right? They are on the side that have the money working for them. So you can either keep trading your time for money. Unfortunately, there's only a certain amount of time you can be awake for to work, though. You need to start having money work for you. And that is the side we're going to focus on the weekend. Having money work for you, and that is how you create true financial freedom.
Well, wonderful. I mean, I was just about to mention that this weekend we're going to focus on what Robert says as the investment side, the big businesses and investment. So thank you for mentioning that. And I believe this weekend, Troy also will share more about how AI works together with the investment world a bit more deeper, because we have a lot more longer time on Saturday. Yeah. Yep. So, okay, Troy, what is one common myth about wealth that you're ready to bust at the webinar this weekend?
One common myth. Oh, man, where
Yes.
do we start? So I probably touched on it already a little bit, but I'm really going to focus on the myth that people believe that they need to be technically knowledgeable and sound on every single part of that investment that they're getting into. Oh no, I'm not. I just don't understand. I just know about it. I just even give my brain the opportunity to even learn about it. And I see this all the time. All right, I'm going to use the Bitcoin and crypto space as a great example. Oh, Troy, I know nothing about that, so I'm never going to do it. Right? Just being dismissive about an opportunity is, in my opinion, the stupidest thing that you can possibly do. Right? It's just ridiculous. And I've seen people do this in the AI space. Oh, I don't know about those robots and all these other things that are happening, so I'm just going to put my head in the sand and stay here. Einstein said it when he said, I don't know if this was exactly it word for word, but when he said, the true meaning of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If you've been beating away at the same drum over and over and over again, since your working life started, whether it be 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, whatever it is, don't you think there's a reason why that's happening to you? Isn't it time to give yourself the opportunity that you can start thinking like the wealthy? Yeah, you might not be wealthy today, but if you start thinking like wealthy people do and like rich people do, like a very simple part, once again, Robert's been talking about this for 30, 40 years. The wealthy, when they get paid their paycheck, right, they invest a portion of it first and then spend what's left. Whereas the poor and middle class, we spend, and then whatever's left, I might put a little away first, right? So that's quite often, you've got wealthy people or so-called rich people, and you think, oh, geez, that person's so tight with their money. They're investing their money. They're not gambling their money. They're not wasting their money, right? They're not just spending it on the latest fashion or latest car or whatever it is. Refer back to Robert Kiyosaki when he talks about assets and liabilities. Okay, a car, getting yourself a big new fancy car. I could afford so many new cars right now, but that would be the stupidest thing I could do because they're a liability. It's something that it devalues over time. Why would I do that when I can have my money in Bitcoin, which is the ultimate deflationary asset that only goes up and improves and gets my wealth more and more and more over time? So they're the kinds of things that we're going to be touching on, really focusing on stripping it back. What are assets? What are liabilities? Why you need more of these things in your bucket and less of those things.
Yes, perfect. Because Robert often says that asset is something that puts money in your pocket, and liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. So whether a property is an asset or a liability, you decide it for yourself, right? So Troy, I want to throw this to you. Some people actually registered for the webinars. Like, this is something that we commonly see, but they never show up live. Why is being there in the moment so important for you? What do you think about that?
It's a difference between people who are shoulda, coulda, wouldas, right? Who get to the end of their life, and you see it. I would highly suggest for anyone watching this, honestly, you should go to a nursing home at some point in the next week or two, talk to all the lovely people that are there, ask them about what is your biggest wins in your life and your biggest regrets. And I can guarantee you that the majority of those people will roll off the line after line after line of all their biggest regrets. And I call it shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? Because the thing is, I should have done this. I could have done that. I would have done that. But there's excuses and people making consistent excuses as to why they're not changing it. I have people that have been to multiple events of mine, multiple times, right? I've been doing this now for nearly 7 years, multiple times, and yet still have not bought themselves any Bitcoin. It just blows my mind. They could have bought it at like $2,000, right? It just blows my mind. And those people, they're never, because they're not taking that first step, they're never going to get anywhere. So the difference between the two, like I said, if you've registered for the event, show up. Your future self right, is going to thank you a million times for showing up, right? Even if you just show up and you just listen to what's going on. Because that's another big thing. So many people show up, but then, they tune out, or, oh, yeah, I'll listen to this. They just think if they press join, that's their job done. Oh, I've listened to it, but really what I'm doing is I'm concentrating on watching Netflix in the background. I'm not really focusing on this financial education that's actually going to get me out of this rut that I'm stuck in. And so that's one of the big things is that what you've just mentioned, Vivian, it's the difference between an action taker and a winner. Right? If you want to say this bluntly, this is how it is. If you register and you show up, you're an action taker. You're already won. But if you don't show up, I mean, you're on the path of losing, because they're literally it. Like the market, okay, the investment market, no matter whether you're in Bitcoin, crypto, gold, silver, stock, it doesn't matter. There's two sides. You're either going to make it or you're not going to make it. But if you don't at least give it a go, you're going to end up like one of those people that you, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, you should go talk to some of the older folk in the nursing homes, in the retirement villages. Ask them. I can tell you right now that their regrets is much longer than the things that they're proud of. There is always a long list of regrets. I should have done this. I could have done that. Why didn't I do this? Right? So that's a big part.
Well, I definitely agree with you, because we've been in this industry for over 30 years, right? Success Resources. And the biggest thing that we would like to convey is that the first step to success is always taking action. So if no action is taken, nothing is going to happen. So thank you, Troy, for joining us today and for spending time with us today. You have shared many valuable insights, and I believe we will have more this weekend. Well, it's so good to have you and Greg for a brief moment earlier. It's so good to have both of you for our comeback live. We haven't done this in a very long time. So for everyone watching, remember this weekend we have our wealth building webinar featuring the one and only Robert Kiyosaki and our powerhouse here, Troy Harris, and of course our wonderful host Greg Owen that appeared earlier. So if I were to say one thing about this weekend's webinar, it's like a juicy burger. Robert is like the bread, laying the foundation, the mindset, the financial education. But Troy is like the patty, building on the foundation with actionable steps that you can take immediately. Well, of course, Greg is the sauce that tops it and make it perfect, right? Together is like a perfect combo. Do you agree with that, Troy?
You're making me hungry.
Yeah, so all of you that is joining us this weekend, you are in for a tasty treat, all right? It's 100% online and 100% free. And if you like this chat, the full webinar will take it to another level, right? Click on the link in the comment below, whichever platform you're on, to register for free right now. But don't just sign up. Show up. Like Troy mentioned earlier, get ready to learn and grow. Tag a friend who you think needs this. Share this video, because not only families that learns together grow together, better still, families that grows together get rich together, right? We all love that. All right. So thank you, Troy. It's been a great session today. Thank you for spending your time with us. And thank you to all our viewers for spending part of your day with us. And we'll see you at the event. This is Success Resources in Troy. This is your learning partner. See you then.